Good evening and welcome to the Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning Meeting of May 14th, 2025. We ask that you all please silence all cell phones and electronics at this time. We are going to begin with a short prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Give us unity of spirit even when our opinions differ. Help us to listen politely to other points of view and to remember that we are all a part of the same community. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path in the best interests of our city. We ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first, Williams was withdrawn, if anybody's here for that and you didn't hear that. But our first application tonight is Graff, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Adam and Regina Graff. The applicants are wanting to construct a dwelling on the property. The applicants are requesting a variance of 10 feet, resulting in a 15-foot setback to the front yard. The property is located at 4137 Cardinal Drive, parcel number 135N-1-39-233.000, 29 and 30 block, 615, Unit 6, Ad 3, Shoreline Park, and is zoned R1A, Residential Single Family District. Is the applicant here tonight? Yes, ma'am. Can you come up and state your name and address for the record, and then tell us a little bit more about the need for the variance?
My name is Regina Graff. My husband would like to be here, but unfortunately he was called out of town for business. We are looking to move over here permanently at the address she mentioned, 4137 Cardinal Drive. Currently, we live in Metairie, Louisiana, 1400 Wisteria Drive. I don't know if you need the whole thing. We had been originally told mistakenly that we needed a 15 feet variance from the street. We later learned after the house was designed that it was supposed to be 15 feet from the property line. We are at a dead-end street with no possibility of a house being built across the street because it's basically wetlands. So we're asking for a 10-foot variance, which means we're 15 feet off the street instead of 15 feet off of the property line behind the street.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Was there anybody signed up to speak?
Nobody signed up, and I think one of the things that they didn't even mention, they included their survey on there, and 10-foot rear yard of their setback is probably the top of their bulkhead because they own, I don't know if you consider own the water bottoms, but the lot's shallow. So if they didn't move it up, their pilings would probably be 1 or 2 feet away from the actual canal itself. So
because the property line extends into the actual canal.
Yes, and I don't know if it's in your...
I noticed that. Well, I looked it up on GIS.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in your paperwork either, but we walked around and introduced ourselves to most of the neighbors that were there, and most of them signed letters that we turned in as well, saying that they had no issues with it.
I don't know how there's, besides shrinking the house, a postage stamp, I don't know how they could build it without, if you made them be...
And I'll just read the general letter and just try to read some of the names and addresses. It says, to whom it may concern, we, the undersigned, are neighbors of Adam and Regina Graff, who are building a new home at 4137 Cardinal Street, Bay St. Louis. We understand that they are applying for a variance from the City of Bay St. Louis Zoning Board for the following request. A 10-foot variance for the home to be built 15 feet behind the street rather than the code requirement of 15 feet behind the property line. We have reviewed the proposed change and have no objections. In fact, we support this request and believe it will not negatively impact the neighborhood or our property. We are confident that the proposed changes will be completed in a manner that is consistent with the character and appearance of our community. We respectfully request that the zoning board take our support into consideration when reviewing this application. We have Robert Doyle, 4129 Cardinal Street. Maybe a Craig Willis, but Andy Williams, 4056 Robin Street. Rick Brady, 4084 Cardinal Street. J. Howard Pruitt, 4107 Robin Street. Steve Brown, 4091 Cardinal Street. A Robinson, 4059 Robinson. Eddie Laviolette, 4097 Cardinal Street, and George Delpidio, 4114 Robin Street. Anyone in the audience that'd like to speak for or against the application? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Motion by Mr. Breland. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cranky. Dean, are you following us?
I am.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dean?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, and that's going to be in this room Tuesday, May 20th at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dosher, before y'all go to the next one, just so I believe the board understands, but just to go anybody in general public. So the next application is an application for special use district. It's just something that we don't see that commonly. So what would this be is the property is currently zoned R1A, and it's still going to be zoned R1A property. A special use district, the intent is if you have 5 acres or more, you can ask property owner or application can ask for a special use district, meaning you can have the use of, and then you fill in the blank of whatever it is that you want to use it for it. So the one that's coming up, which happened in the pack, they're allowed to build, since it's R1A, they can build single family houses on it by right. Pretty much that's about it. They want to take all, 22 acres, overlay it to have a special use for an RV park. But if the commission, or if it's granted through y'all in city council, it wouldn't be that a RV park just shows up. Then the next step would be the developer would have to submit for a major site plan. So then, we go make sure drainage works out, the utilities work. There's actually, it's denoted in the memo from us. There's an actual section from our zoning ordinance that deals with the density, how many parking spots. Like, it is pretty well done for RV parks. We make sure all of those are checked. So just by giving a special use district doesn't mean it's just going to show up. That would check the first box that they have the use of it, and then they have to invest in engineering, infrastructure, every other part of that, and then present the plan to y'all and to the city council and get that site plan checked off on. So this first part is just setting the ball in motion. The next part's it's going to be the meat and potatoes. Say, hey, thanks for submitting this to us. We understand you did this, but we need more green space. We need this, or you told us this was going to have a pool, and all this is a concrete jungle with no trees. Try again, and y'all still have leverage of say so, and city council will still have say so that yes or no. So, but this just gives the developer an opportunity. The use, and the only use would be for an RV park. It can't be a bait shop. Can't show up there. A whole list. A convenience store is not going to show up there. It's going to be an RV park with a lazy river, pickleball court, but an RV park. And then they would, if they were to be, just so everyone knows, if they were to be granted this special request, they have, is it a year? Then they would, you have a year. I think it's basically a year, and then you can ask for extension, but they have a year to activate that, meaning we start doing our due diligence, and then we're going to go start actually doing the project. So this project isn't going to be, if the special use district is given, it's not going to be like, all right, now we have the special use, so we can go and shop it around and sell the project. And 5 years down the road, they want to do an RV park. They have to, pretty much, you have to start having it in motion. So because what Bay St. Louis doesn't want, and the intent of it is, we don't want somebody to get an approval for something, and then the conditions of the neighborhood claim, let's say an actual subdivision actually gets developed across the street that changed the dynamic. I think kind of and it's on this neighborhood hasn't changed in 20 years. So it's intent that it probably would, but that doesn't matter. When this property was granted the special use district for this exact same thing 8 years ago. The neighborhood hasn't changed, so conceivably, my just personal thought is the conditions are the same, but they still had to come back to ask for it, and then they're going to have to go do a site plan review. But even after that site plan review done, then they actually have to do the project. If they come back 3 years later and say, hey, we're ready to do it, you're like, well, start back over at the beginning and ask permission to do it.
And that's what I was going to bring up, that the same parcel was approved several years ago for the same special use,
Yeah.
but it's not transferable, so that's why the applicant's
Well, and then-
here,
yeah.
wanting to get his individual RV park approved tonight. Okay, so Ajax LLC application for special use district. The applicant is requesting a special use district to allow the use of recreational vehicle park located on Chapman Road, parcel 138H-0-46-028.000. Legal description: part gate on Toolme claim, part southeast 1/4, section 27-8S-14W, and is zoned R1A single family district.
Hey guys, everything they combined. If y'all, they have a presentation. It's in the packet that was online, but there's some hard copies still left. If anybody would like one, to just kind of follow along. Also,
All right, can you state your name and address for us? For the minute?
Chandler Rust, and the address of the property is 10160 Chapman Road.
but that's not your residence. So Utah, whatever.
Residence. Okay, I'm from Utah, 2465 Farmhouse Lane. Lee Height.
All right, yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the project, if you would.
Okay, yeah. So this will be the ninth RV park that I've built or owned. And this is one that has me really, really excited. Probably the most excited I've been out of all the parks that I've purchased or built. This project, it's a 19.3 acre parcel that we would love to begin building on this summer. So as Jeremy was mentioning, we're not ones that are gonna get this approved and try to pass it off or flip it. This is what I do. So we'd like to start as soon as possible and potentially be open by Labor Day of next year. A little ambitious on construction, but I think having an ambitious goal is important. This parcel is quite unique with the way it was originally developed back in 2005, just with the size of the roads and the elevation of the property. It was originally developed with roads, sewer, and water. And I also have a representative from BMA here as well to help answer any questions if needed on engineering. But this was originally developed via a subdivision of 150 home sites, 23 feet wide and 80 feet long, so really small homes, I assume. And then it was foreclosed on during the financial crisis of 2008, and it's kind of gone through multiple owners and foreclosures and handovers since then, until we came across it recently, and it fits what we do pretty perfectly. Due to the elevation, building that many homes, they would need to be, built on stilts, and that would be quite the investment for this parcel. So just from information I've gathered, this appears to be one of the best possible uses and probably why it was approved last time. If you go to the third page, it kind of outlines what we plan to do in terms of site plan. But we want to do 200 pads. We would consider this more of a RV resort than a park, just with the quality of the development, with having each site fully paved and landscaped, pickleball courts. I've heard that's a growing trend here. I know it is out west as well, pickleball. So if anyone wants to play, let me know. I really enjoy pickleball. We'll have a swimming pool with the lazy river and a children's beach entrance. If any of you have been to the luxury RV resort in Gulfport on the water there are some pictures towards the end of this presentation that show what their pool looks like, and our intention is for it to be quite similar to theirs. Page 7, closest comparable, shows the Gulfport RV resort. You'll see it's all paved and landscaped and has a pretty impressive pool with a lazy river. It's going to look quite similar to that. Dog parks, green spaces, family areas throughout. Full hookups at each site, picnic tables at each site. I think I mentioned most of the amenities we're planning on, but this won't just kind of be a dirt and gravel RV park with a lot of, long-term trailers hanging out there. This will be more of an RV resort where we will allow snowbirds, of course, but this will also be a great place for people traveling through to stay at as well. We also have already spoken with, I'm not sure if he made it here, but he just emailed me about 2 minutes ago, the president of the Bay Area Youth Soccer Club. He was supposed to be here, but got held up at work. And so he just forwarded over to me a letter of support from their league. Their property is just east of this parcel. And I spoke to them. They're excited about this development because they've struggled to be able to host travel soccer tournaments at that because of the lack of short-term housing around here. And so we've actually talked with them and are working on a partnership to have discounted rates for their teams to stay at the park, and also day passes for those amenities for the kids to use that come and travel to play and have time between games. So they're excited about it. I have their letter here. I can also print out. Maybe Jeremy can print
you
out.
want me to read it into the record?
Sure. Pull up my phone and then you
Yeah.
get right in.
Okay, it says, Dear Council, I'm writing this letter to express my support for Mr. Chandler Rust and his proposal of an RV park development adjacent to the Scott Dembowski Memorial Soccer Complex, in which Bay Area Youth Soccer, Inc. organizes and manages recreational and competitive soccer teams for youth in Hancock County, Mississippi, and surrounding areas. This development will significantly benefit our community and, in particular, enhance the functionality and attractiveness of our soccer complex, conforming with other premier locations for hosting tournaments. We fully support the implementation of this project and look forward to the enhancement and growth of our attractions to our community. Thank you, Brennan Adam, President on behalf of the Bay Area Youth Soccer Board. Great. Any questions or comments for Mr. Russ from the commissioners? And then I'll open it up to the audience to speak.
Can I make a comment from afar?
Yes, sir.
I've been kind of tangentially around this project for 20 years, and thank God something's finally going to happen.
I would have said this was 2 years ago when this came up. I can't believe it was 8. So,
this is a good thing. Thank you.
yes, I agree. I do have a few signed up to speak, I think. Mr. Regan Kane, 504 North Beach Boulevard.
Thank you all for your time. Regan Kane, 504 North Beach. I'm also the listing agent on this property, and I just kind of repeat what Dean said. I've been involved with this property for probably 6 or 7 years, and Chandler and his team are the first people who are willing to spend the capital. They're sensitive of the community and willing to enhance the area, because it's really been a challenge from the elevation issues and location, and it's just exciting to have him come aboard. I just hope the P&Z approve his project and see his vision for the future and enhancing the area. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience I would like to speak for or against? I know not everybody has a presentation package, but if you get a chance to look at it, it looks really nice and well thought out.
In Brown, Mitchell, and Alexander, and just, I guess we had preliminary, how low lying of this is this? Because I think this, as Mr. Kane has been involved in, I guess I've been involved in it for 4 years, and they've had a number of projects, some allowed by right that I promise you nobody would want.
Would have wanted.
But this is, I thought the property was about 12 feet above base flood elevation, meaning that you have to go 6 foot up. But
Nick Gant, Brown, Mitchell, and Alexander, 131 Rue Magnolia, Biloxi, Mississippi. So we have not performed a topo of the site yet, but just using Google Earth imagery and kind of, what's shown on there. Yeah, you're around elevation 7 and 8. And I believe the flood zone is around 18.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what base St. Louis, if you're a +1 or +2. Yeah, +1. So you're 11, 10, at least 10 feet in the air on any home that you built in this area.
Gotcha. So, I know that was just good, because I guess
That's a good.
in my point, I never knew this was as low lying as it was. So essentially what this property is an interior shoreline park, property that's not on the water. So let's say Avenue 5, 6, 7, 8, where there's still no development, but if it is, it's, you know, a pre-existing house from Katrina that didn't get washed through that, or sometimes trailers. So, but
And it was filled in, so before, when they built it before, I know it was filled in when they raised it up some, so. And that's one good thing about it, the topo.
that's all I have. I just had the general question for see if the actual document
No,
ever
it's a
exists
good
yet.
Yeah, and, you know, just, we're obviously very early on in kind of the phasing of this, but we've already had some conversations with the utility authority about what they're gonna require for the water sewer, so we're already kind of starting to move and making some movement on that. So,
Great, I appreciate it. Mr. Ross, did you want to say something else?
So I have field topography from previous project, and it was about 6 feet and 7 feet in some areas.
Yeah.
So really low generally. If there's no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Motion by Mr. Breland, is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Cranky beat you to it. I don't think you can hear him. But all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting Tuesday, May 20th at 5:30 PM. Thank you. Next agenda item is Phil Sim Properties, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Jason Phillips and with Phil Sim Properties. The applicant is wanting to construct a dwelling on the property. The applicant is requesting a variance of 1 foot, resulting in an 11-foot setback to the side yard on the Alabama Street side of the proposed dwelling. The property is located at 5051 Georgia Street, parcel number 139A-0-40-099.001, 1 block 314, unit 3, add 1, Shoreline Park subdivision, and is zoned R1A residential single family district. Yes, sir.
Hey, how are you? I'm Jason Phillips, 427 West Lake Road, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The house is actually in construction. So the survey was done. We're supposed to have 12 foot from the corner lot of Alabama Street. Believe when the pilings were placed that once we got everything was set, the contractor pulled the tape and it was like roughly 6 or so inches off from the.
I included in the packet the actual measurement, not survey. It's just the contractor.
Yes, sir.
Saw that.
And so I'm just asking for a 1 foot variance, just to.
And the 1 foot is to cover just in case. Truth be told, he would need a survey, but it's probably a 7-inch variance. Like,
But our normal side setback is 8 feet, so
Right.
people in the audience wondering it's 12 foot at corners.
yeah,
So
it's-
that's why he's asking for the variance.
yeah. You don't have anybody signed up, and like I went and drove it. The 12-foot variance comes because of sight lines. If you're at a stop sign, you need to see around it. And I went and drove down Corner Street. I'm like, oh well, I can see the cars coming. So
Yes.
Yes, and he's gonna be 25 foot off the front, and from the property line, not even the actual street, further back than that,
Right.
so we shouldn't.
And you
have
can
a-
see even with the construction already there,
Yeah,
Right.
you know,
yeah.
And it's those big lots.
yeah,
Do y'all have any comments or questions?
no.
Anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Cranky, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Breland, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Dean?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, please be present in the next city council meeting Tuesday, May 20th, 5:30 PM.
Thank you.
Okay, is this Ingman? Okay. Can you
Which
keep
one are we
me,
not doing tonight?
Williams,
Williams.
towards the end. Can you keep me straight on the letters to read? If there's, okay. Okay,
All right,
I've
let me-
got some, but I don't know that I have all on
I'll see.
my email. 3. Okay. All right. Next agenda item is Dias, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Larry Dias Jr. The applicant is requesting to subdivide one parcel into 2 new parcels of land. Both parcels will not meet the required lot area or lot width. Parcel 1 will need a variance of 932 square feet resulting in 11,068 square feet to the minimum lot area and a variance of 26 feet resulting in a total of 74 feet to the minimum lot width. Parcel 2 will need a variance of 938 square feet resulting in 11,062 square feet to the minimum lot area and a variance of 26 feet resulting in a total of 74 feet to the minimum lot width. The property is located at 118 Ingman Avenue, parcel 136H-1-37-021.00005J, rear first ward, in the zone R1 single family district. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Can you come up and state your name and address for us?
Larry Dice, it's my wife, Lena Dice. 100
Dice?
Dice,
Dice, okay.
10032 Eden Street. In Waveland, 39520.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about the need for the variance?
Yeah, we purchased the property. It's 300 feet, so it's street to street. But when we purchased it, it was only 74 feet wide. I understand some of the houses in the area, or some of the lots in the area, are currently 150 feet and 150 feet. I think the problem came in is that when we purchased ours, it was only 74 feet instead of which would have been normally maybe 80 or 100. The neighborhood just wasn't designed that way from the start. So we're asking that we divide, instead of having it street to street, we would divide it halfway through. So we'd have one lot on the front and one lot on the back, which is consistent to some of the lots in the area, I think.
Any of the commissioners have any questions? I've got some letters to read into the record, and then I have some people signed up to speak.
I do have a question. So what is the reasoning for you wanting to split it?
Just to have two properties.
I mean, you plan on building two on it, or?
We would like to build on Pogo first and then build on Ingman. We currently have just the need to divide it in half so that we can build two properties. We live on Eden, right? We have a house there for the last 10 years, but it floods too much in Shoreline Park. 1 year I had to move my stuff 6 times. So we purchased that property in the hopes of still having to build elevated, but we could leave stuff on the ground and not have to flood.
You're gonna flood every once in a while, just so you know.
I heard
that's where I grew up,
Pogo,
just so
right.
you know.
Pogo might flood more than Ingman.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the purpose.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try to go through as many letters as I can, and then I'll open it up to the audience. Dear Planning and Zoning Board, as a resident and concerned neighbor of the property located adjacent to 118 Ingman Drive, parcel number 136H-1-37-021.000, I am writing to formally express my opposition to the requested variance under review. According to the application, the proposed variance seeks approval for a lot size of only 938 square feet. I mean, I think they mistyped it. That's the variance. It's not, it's more, it's 11,000 something. The minimum requirement for the lot size in our area is 11,062 square feet. I think they wrote that. This means the proposed lot is approximately 92% smaller than the required minimum, a significant and substantial deviation from the zoning standards. I think they misread the variance.
Read it, but I'll give a response to their email tomorrow.
You're gonna, yeah.
Okay, because they're thinking it's addressed. They
think it's not even. Yeah.
They transpose the number. Yeah, I'm not going to continue reading it because I think it's taken under the wrong context.
It is.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling these up. I am writing to say I am against the variance for the property located at 118 Ingman Avenue. I will not be able to attend the public hearing. I hope you can take my objection into account. I have no problem with variances of a few feet to allow someone to add on to an existing home. This is much different. This will take one lot that meets the minimum size and make two that do not meet it. If this is done, I see no reason to have a minimum lot size in the ordinance. Thanks, Harold Brack, 328 Julia Street. We received a public hearing notice from Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning Commission in regards to 118 Ingman Avenue. The applicant would like to divide one parcel into two new parcels. We respectfully request that the application for variance be denied. I, like most homeowners, have made a significant investment based on the city zoning as well as other factors in the purchase, investment, selection of our homes. We count on the city government to uphold the zoning when we make a purchase. Our expectation is that the city zoning is stable and not changed at the whim of neither an individual homeowner nor a larger entity that makes a purchase. If we create a density nightmare, how does that benefit those who live here? I'm certainly not opposed to growth, but I am opposed to irresponsible growth. Before the commission approves variances, they should consider the roads have not changed or expanded. A review of the architect's renderings or developer's plans for the land must be taken into account for the size of the land and the variance requested. The most fundamental consideration for approving a developer's request is that it will be for the benefit of the current citizens, the people impacted by the change in the surrounding areas in the city. The current request will not benefit the current residents like ourselves. Our concern is the approval could have a snowball effect for additional like requests, doubling the homes in our neighborhood. Thank you for the consideration in advance. Christy and Bo Royster. I don't see an address. Request, we received a public hearing notice concerning a request for variance changes of 118 Ingman Avenue from the P&Z Commission. The landowner is requesting to subdivide one parcel into two new parcels, which in turn will result in either parcel meeting the lot area or lot width. The applicant was aware of the variances when the property was purchased. We are opposed to this request for variance changes and respectfully ask that the application for a variance change in subdividing would be denied. This request would not serve our neighborhood's best interests. We purchased our property in this specific area because of the generous lot and home sizes as well as the zoning factors. This is a considerable investment for us. Subdividing and changing the variances to create much more smaller parcels will then produce smaller builds which will affect the value of our and other residents' properties. In addition, this desire to subdivide could spark others to do the same, resulting in a congested neighborhood. These smaller homes could be changed to possible vacation rental type homes. We did not purchase property here for such a neighborhood. Are the treasured properties of our quiet neighborhood being brought up? Those who will not live and contribute to our community. We hope that Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning will protect the existing zones and variances for the benefits of the voting citizens. Thank you for your attention and consideration. John and Tracy Oldfather, 501 Blakemore Street. Okay, I have some people signed up to speak. Miss Christy Royster, 118 Pogo Road. Did you write a letter? If you wanted, okay. And is it Tracy Oldfather? I read your, yes. We don't. Okay. Anybody in the audience that have any more questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. Can you come up to the mic and state your name? We're being recorded, so everybody can hear.
Hi, I'm Ann Hull. I have a place at 117 Pogo. It's near the here, and I don't think my letter made the cutoff time, but it was just pretty much on the same level as the other two letters that you know I bought in this area with this certain with the certain zoning. This will increase density and it you know it may have a snowball effect, and you know because a lot of those lots, between Ingman and Pogo could be cut in half.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
I like to speak fair on this too, but like I said, the property next to it, the two lots are 150 by 74. Both of those on towards the, I don't know which way it's facing. And then the lots on the other side of it's 140 by 125, so those are all split in half. The ones across the road from it, they've been split in half at one time or another. They're all in half, so it looks like there's only, what I'm looking at here, 1, 2, 3, right there on that side. There's just one big lot. So I'm just saying.
And I was going to bring up the same comment. Now, if we were asking for a subdivision of the width, I'm sure I'm in the minority here, but I'd be much more opposed to that. But the width it's an existing non-conforming lot in regards to the width. The width is going to stay the same no matter what.
No matter what.
Even dividing them in half, which, to be honest, the majority of the parcels in this area, I don't even see one that runs through Cedar Ridge Avenue all the way to Ingman. That is the full stretch from street to street. Most of them are subdivided. I would be willing to guess that this lot was combined at some point in time and used to be two individual lots. And taking that into account too, I mean, these are still super generous lots at 150-foot depth. It'd be a stretch to fill up the lot with 300 feet of house and depth. So I mean, I see it as more on the reasonable end. Now I don't know what the intentions are for the property at the end of the day, but just looking at it as an individual parcel, it's still two nice size lots at the end of the day.
You gotta come
Yeah,
up here.
can you, yeah, no, but come, yes, please come ask it.
So my name is Christy Royster, and I own 118 Pogo Road, and I also own 114 Ingman. Both are 1 acre lots. And so the family that built on, so it would be on the side of the 114 Ingman, which is street to street. On the Pogo side, they built a home, which is a lot cut in half. And their plans were, I'm sure they were approved by the council or whoever permit, you know.
Did they ask for a variance as well?
They didn't, and they built on my property. I mean, like, they're on my property line. And so I guess we're really more or less like worried that, like, once they just come in and they just start building and there are no parameters, you know. And so I think this could really be a problem. And two, Pogo Road is very narrow. You cannot have two cars going in opposite directions. And so, you know, I don't see any, you know, plans for expanding the street. There's no side, you know, there's no land.
No easement.
There's no easement. So with that being said, if you start to, we're worried about the snowball effect of this, that everyone, you know, I own 114 Ingman. Now, with the size of my lot, I could go ahead and ask for a variance too, split it into 4, because it would be the same size of the lots that he's asking for. And then, so now I have 4 lots, and I can build 4 homes on there. Sounds like a great opportunity, but you cannot, I mean, like, then there's 4 homes, and then there's another, you know, the 2 homes and 2 homes and 2 homes, and, you know, and you just keep breaking down the lots. I mean, that's not why we bought our home
bought
back.
it for the space.
Right. And,
but
you know, if we
you would
wanted,
be the only lots on that street. There might be one other lot that runs how many lots run all the way through?
so the guy on the other, so I own 118 Pogo Road. So the other guy on the, so I own
And what was your
114
last name
Ingman.
again?
So I own
No,
118
your
Pogo.
last name.
Oh, Royster.
Royster, she's
I'm
on.
lo- I'm
She's
looking-
on this map.
Yes, I'm looking at the map.
Those 2 lots.
So I own 114 Ingman, 118 Pogo, and then the gentleman on the other side of me just put his property up for sale, and he's also talking about, like, oh, well, you know, maybe I'll split my lots and sell them for, you know, split it in half, sell it for 2 lots. It's like, well, where does it end? You know, where does it begin? Where does it end for us? I mean, when we bought our property out that way, you know, the idea was to have the space. And I also think this is, you know, I can't afford to keep digging into my own checkbook to make sure that I buy a property on the other side of me just so I don't get, you know, someone crowding in like 2 homes or more than that, you know, for that. So those were, you know, one of our, or many of our concerns, that the, you know, the way that the you know, you purchase a property and, you know, that's what you get. I mean, honestly, the neighborhood really couldn't take on a lot of density. It just can't, the streets aren't wide enough.
They're very narrow. I mean,
They
all
are.
those streets are down that way.
And then we also have an issue too, and I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, but they've had stop work orders put on some of the property back there, builders with, you know, inexperienced builders coming in, filling up, you know, laying with a bunch of dirt, and then they put stop order on it, and then nothing's happened to it, and a year later, we're still looking at it out there. So we're just being protective of our neighborhood because we're not looking to have, Airbnbs back out there. I mean, I live there.
Yes,
So
full time.
we're not just a weekend family.
I
So
understand.
thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And just to be clear too, no matter what was, if they were to be granted this request, they still would have to abide by all the city setbacks, front and back and side, even if it were to be split into two parcels.
Right, so which means they'll be coming back for another variance.
Correct.
Well, if they couldn't get it in a 150-foot depth.
So, I'm not trying to be smart out here, I mean, but right now it looks like y'all don't just want anybody to build back there, correct? Y'all don't want anybody to build back there, right? I'm just asking.
No, she's.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking, and when I'm looking at, there's hardly any houses back there. Correct. And there's, where he would be building, if he does split, there's a vacant lot on the other side of him on both sides of it. So, I mean, but I'm just trying to see.
I'm just stuck on the width is the width.
Right.
You know, it's gonna remain a 74-foot wide lot, no matter.
So is the two next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have the
I
same
mean,
thing.
all the ones in the area, really, the majority is 80-foot width.
Between him and Miss Andrea.
Probably 80% of them.
Yes. Is it not? Yes.
No, the
No,
majority
the one
is
next
not
to it, the
street
one
to
next to
street.
him is split in half. It's 70.
No,
No.
no, probably
No, it is
80% are not street
No.
to street. If you look on
is not.
GIS that I was studying earlier today. Yeah, you want to come up
You
and
can come up,
state
look.
your name and address for us? That way, if you have any
Yeah,
questions.
only a couple of them are street to street. If you want to look right here.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. John Oldfather, 501 Blakemore. My question would be, what is his intention on splitting the lots?
I'm sure to build two separate houses or
Yeah,
to
that's
sell
what he-
one.
that's what he
maybe.
said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. One on Pogo and one on.
Okay. I did not-
That's
I
what
did
he
not hear
Yeah,
that.
that's what he said.
Yeah, he wanted to build on Ingman first, and then he would build on Pogo after.
Okay, so his intention on building two houses is for what reason?
Probably to sell one.
That's my question.
You could do that.
You can do that. I mean,
You could do that by right.
yes. It's legal.
Any other comments or, yes, sir, do you want to?
The only thing would be that I understand the concerns, but if everybody has a concern about building on Pogo, my property, I could build my house on a Pogo side, which would be my right. When we purchased the property right next to us, the guy that's building, it already had a fence in the middle of the property, and we have a slab on the existing property, which is on the Ingman
It
side.
was two parcels
Right.
prior to Katrina.
So I'm just trying to make it back to what it used to be. That's all. Not trying to create any problems.
Right. Do you have an address or you'd pick your, I guess you'd be picking where you,
It's 118.
Pogo?
No,
or
it's 118 Ingman.
Inman?
We would
Oh,
have
that's
to
right.
get another address for the Pogo
Yeah.
side.
Well, if there's no other comments or questions for the commissioners or the audience, I'll entertain a motion.
But one thing I would do say though, we're only a recommending board. So whatever happens here tonight, it depends on the city of Bay St. Louis. So you still have to go there. So, but all we do is make a recommendation. And
Is there a motion?
I'm looking here.
I would deny it.
A motion to deny by Mr. Cranky. Is there a second?
Dean can second if he wants.
Dean, are you following us?
I'm here.
Did you hear the motion to deny?
Did we get a support for the motion to deny?
We have not.
Need a second.
Okay.
We need a second.
I'll support the motion to deny just to get it on the floor.
Second by Mr. Ag. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
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 No.
Nay. So, so the motion, so the motion was to deny, so, and it failed. So, we don't have to remake the motion to.
No, you still need.
We didn't remake the motion. I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll support it.
Second by Mr. Ag. All those in favor?
Nay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, motion passes, 3-1.
So,
But-
so Caitlin, it's, you have two motions. One, the motion was just to deny, which
Failed.
passed, but
It-
then we had it, so we have it.
Okay, so please be present in the next city council meeting Tuesday, May 20th at 5:30 PM. Thank you. Okay, the next agenda item is Stifle, and I'm gonna mess up this name too. Leokas. Application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Stifle and Leokas. The applicants are wanting to reconfigure two parcels into one new parcel of land. The new parcel will meet the required lot area. However, the applicant is requesting a variance of 21.4 feet, resulting in a total of 78.6 feet to the minimum lot width. The property is located on the 400 block of Sycamore Street, parcel 149M-1-30-126.001, 186 and E, 18.6 of 187, 3rd Ward, Bay St. Louis, and 137J-0-44-053.000, 100C, 108, 109B, 110, 111, 3rd Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned R1 Single Family District. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Matt Stifle, 507 Citizen Street. I'd like to, there's two variance requests, which would be 6 and 7 on this agenda. And I just handed out where the 5 current lots configuration is now, and then what we're proposing to do by just reallocating land and making it 4 single-family lots. And the proposal now is just to re-subdivide the land, and then going forward, we would be submitting individual building permits for plans for houses, et cetera.
A question for Jeremy. Didn't we have this one before?
We've had,
How many times?
It was, the first time it was 8 houses in a row. The second time it was one less lot, and I tried to do 5.
Yes.
And this time I've acquired one more smaller parcel on St. Francis, which allows us to have more road frontage and then less parcels. So each parcel is between 18 and 19,000 square feet.
Yeah, 'cause I think the first, when Mr. Stifle came out the last time, it never made it to the city council, but what he did was, the issue was the width from the neighborhood. So what he does, instead of giving up, he says, all right, I'll go buy the piece of property so I can.
It took a minute, but we got it.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but okay, basically we have 5 existing non-conforming lots that we're making into 4. So 3 lots currently front St. Francis Street, that would move to 2. And then a larger lot that will front Labatt, and a larger lot that will front Sycamore Street.
And y'all's packet is kind of convoluted because to survey all this to where it needs to be would be thousands.
Yeah.
So we found every single survey we could, and what we're doing now is asking for the variance. If the variances are granted, then Mr. Stifle will go get it all surveyed, but he has the variance in hand, so then he only has to do the sketch plat. But
yeah,
if you can't get the variance, why spend $4,000 on a survey that you can't use?
Yeah, and I think some of these numbers are more conservative. You're gonna end up with even larger lots than what's
Well, yeah, we talked to the neighbors too, and then this is more palatable to them as well. So they've expressed, I guess that they're not against it. So.
Any other, are there questions or comments from the
We have
commissioners?
any letters?
Yeah, I didn't get a
No,
letter on
no letters.
this. I
No
just have
letters.
people signed up to speak in the audience.
No, I've had letters, people call and ask about this. I explained it to them. They're fine with it. I said, would you like to write a letter? They said, no, we're fine with it. We want to give it support. They said, no, we're good. So.
They're not against it, but they're not writing letters to support it either. So,
yes.
But I have spoken to some of the, I guess, Paula Forcotnu was one, Falba Homes is another one, Michaela Brown, I talked to her about it as well, wish they were here.
Yeah, 'cause they were
but,
here. I mean, usually they were here the last couple times, and that's why I say they're
I
not
was like,
here.
Falba's here. She's here. She
Yeah,
signed
she's
up
here.
to
I know
speak.
she's here, but she's
Yeah.
not speaking, but she's aware of
She
the
can be the
situation.
spokesperson for
And
everybody.
she's been, yeah, she's been great.
Okay, I have Miss Anita Warner signed up to speak,
Okay.
and then Miss Falba. Sure, yeah. Sorry, Miss Anita, just one second.
Louis Leokis, 1830 Madison Street, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70448. I just want to say that I'm very excited about this. From a personal standpoint, our family's been looking to build a house over here for some time. And I talked to Jeremy probably 2 years ago, and so with the acquisition of this other lot that's facing St. Francis, we're now going to be lowering density in the neighborhood by generating 4 lots out of 5. And I think that the neighbors will be a lot happier, and I appreciate your consideration. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Anita Warner on behalf of the Live Oak Registry, and yes, I remember this project. Is this the third time we've been here? And I'm in favor of what Matt wants to do. My only reservation is, of course, the trees. There's a really nice live oak right on the front on St. Francis Street. There looks to be, I don't know if it's a swamp maple or a sycamore sort of in the middle. Sycamore in the middle. I did not go on the property, but I was driving by. So, and the way the trees are, it looks to me like it's going to be fairly easy to build because the trees seem to be mostly along the sides. Very nice trees also on Labatt and on Sycamore. So as long as we preserve the live oaks and any magnolias that might be out there, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. And they will have to have the oak tree surveyed when they do.
Yes,
the
that will
survey.
all
That's
be
part of the
done,
new
that'll
plan.
all be done with the actual replatting survey, and then just so you know, that the live oaks, the big ones, those things we're planning on keeping there, we like mature trees. So,
Yes.
and there's plenty enough room on the 19,000 square foot lot to build a house and not have to cut the trees down. So,
Right.
okay.
Thank you. Ms. Holmes, you want to come speak?
Good evening. They pretty much covered everything, but my name is Fowler Holmes. I reside at 430 Labatt Street. As Miss Anita was saying, we was talking about the live oaks on Labatt Street. Also talked with Matt about them. They're not going anywhere. They'll be there. They'll be preserved. This construction or what's going on won't affect what's there. As far as I know, there has been no objections for this. Seems like everybody is in favor. Usually no news is good news for the area. And it's more in line with what the community desires and has been requesting in the past. As you have said before, this has come before you guys at least 3 or 4 times. The main parcel sits pretty much adjacent to my lot where I live. So it'll direct me specifically. So I'm in favor. I don't think there'd be any problem with us making these 5 lot parcels into 4. As you say, it's lessening the density. We appreciate that, and hopefully you guys will approve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I accept it, please.
Motion by Mr. Breland. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Cranky. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting Tuesday, May 20th, 5:30 p.m. And we're piggybacking off of.
So that, he had to do 2 motions just because how it's done, but it's the same.
So can we just make a motion without entertaining?
Go ask if there's any public comments. If not, yeah.
Any public comments on agenda item number 7? Comments or questions from the commissions? I'll entertain a motion.
So he had, this one was for the variance on St. Francis Street. Now he needs it for the ones on Sycamore Street.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we just wrapped it up. So
Right.
that doesn't, we
so
make another motion then.
You would have to.
All right, I'll make a motion. We accept the second one.
Motion by Mr. Breland to accept.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cranky. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, table the next.
Aye.
Hey, table the next one. I thought we had the drainage done. It was not. Did not get the blessing.
So that's 8.
Make a motion to table number 8, Bellamere Development. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Breland. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And y'all don't have to do anything further.
Dean.
And then,
Aye.
and then Williams.
Williams has been withdrawn.
Yeah, so you don't even have to do anything.
Oh, okay.
We got to accept them. We didn't.
All right, so we're on to agenda item number 10, motion to recommend the Bay St. Louis City Council approve and implement tax increment financing redevelopment plan, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, 2025. Conforms with the comprehensive plan of the city of Bay St. Louis adopted on July 2nd, 2024.
Okay, so Bay St. Louis City Council is about one of the recommendations is to have tax incentives. Per the state law, the tax incentive plan needs to be recommended by the planning and zoning to be sent to them so they can go vote on it. Like it's state statute. So the tax, what they said was recommended in the comprehensive plan. So we're here now and say, hey, y'all have an issue with this going to the city council for them to say yes or no?
I'll make a motion to recommend. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cranky. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Minutes.
I always skip the minutes.
Skip the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of April 16th, 2025.
I'll make a go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Cranky, second by Mr. Breland. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Last agenda item is a motion to adjourn the meeting of May 14th, 2025.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Cranky. Is there a second?
Dean.
Second by Mr. Agee. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. Thank